The night was cold. The ground was covered with ash, broken stone, and the smell of smoke. A young boy walked slowly through the ruins of his home. His eyes were red, not only from the fire, but from the tears he had cried, until he could cry no more. He whispered into the empty air, his voice shaking. "I lost my mother today." The words were small, almost broken, but they carried through the silence like a wound. There was no answer. The stars above him were cold, and the dark sky seemed to have no mercy. He was alone, truly alone. His steps dragged as he searched for anything: food, water, a corner to rest. His stomach was empty, and his heart felt even emptier. Every shadow made him jump. Every sound of falling stone made him turn his head. The ruins of the colony were no longer safe. Raiders, beasts, and worse things moved in the night. But still, he walked. The boy's mind replayed the last moment he saw his mother. Her hand pushed him away, her voice cracked with fear and love. Run. Live. He wanted to go back, to stay with her, but the fire and the screams had forced him to flee. Now her voice was all he had left. Hours passed. His feet bled. The world was empty. Then, through the broken walls, he saw a faint light. A fire. His heart jumped. It could be hope. Or it could be death. But he had nowhere else to go. Slowly, carefully, he moved closer. The light came from a small cave hidden by rocks. Inside, the air was warmer. He could hear movement. Someone, or something, was there. His legs shook, but he could not stop. He had to try. He stepped into the cave. At first, he saw nothing, only shadows against the fire. Then the figure turned. It was not human. Tall, with sharp lines across the skin, glowing eyes like fire, and a strange mark on the chest. The boy froze. His breath caught. He had seen these beings before, but only from a distance. They were not friends of humans. Some called them saviors. Some called them killers. No one truly knew. The figure stared at him in silence. The boy's voice cracked as he spoke. "Please, I'm scared. Let me stay one night." The words felt heavy. His chest pounded. He did not know if the alien would understand. For a moment there was nothing. No sound but the fire. The alien's eyes narrowed. The boy thought this was the end. But then, the alien moved. Slowly, carefully, the figure stepped aside, leaving space near the fire. It did not speak. It only watched. The boy walked inside, each step heavy, each breath trembling. He sat near the fire, keeping his eyes low, too afraid to meet the alien's gaze. The warmth touched his skin, and for the first time since the ruins he felt something close to safety. But fear still lived inside him. The alien sat across from him, silent, watching. The boy wanted to ask questions, but the words stuck in his throat. His hands shook. He thought of his mother, of her face, of her last words. A tear rolled down his cheek. Minutes passed. The cave was quiet, except for the crackle of the fire. Outside, the wind screamed like ghosts. The boy lay down, curling, his body as if to hide from the universe. His eyes closed, but sleep did not come. Every breath of the alien made him jump. Every shadow from the fire made him fear. Still, he whispered into the night. Just one night. The alien shifted. The boy felt the weight of its eyes. Then, finally, the alien spoke. Its voice was deep, strange, but calm. "Stay. One night." The boy's heart raced. He did not know if this was safety or a trap. But for now he had fire. For now he was not alone. The night stretched long. In the distance, the boy heard the roar of creatures and the echo of raiders moving through the ruins. But the cave was still. The alien did not move closer. It only kept watch, eyes glowing, in the firelight. The boy closed his eyes once more, and this time He allowed himself to dream. He dreamed of his mother's voice. He dreamed of a home he no longer had. He dreamed that maybe, just maybe, this one night would not be his last. Outside, the wind carried the ashes of the dead. Inside, a fragile promise of safety was born. But the universe is never kind for long. The fire burned low inside the cave. The boy sat close to the warmth, his arms wrapped around his knees. His eyes were heavy, but sleep would not come. Every time he closed them, he saw his mother's face, the fire, the screams, the end of everything he once knew. Across from him, the alien still watched, silent, unmoving. Its glowing eyes were fixed on him, sharp and unreadable. The boy felt as if he was being weighed, judged. He whispered softly, afraid of breaking the silence. "Thank you for letting me stay." The alien did not answer. It only tilted its head slightly, like it was trying to understand. The boy wondered if his words even reached its mind. Minutes passed. The boy's stomach growled loud in the quiet cave. Shame burned in his cheeks. He had not eaten in days. The alien's gaze shifted, and then, to the boy's surprise, it moved. From a corner of the cave, it took out a strange piece of food, something dark, glowing faintly blue. It placed it near the fire, then pushed it toward him. The boy hesitated. Was it safe? He looked at the alien, then at the food. His hunger was stronger than his fear. Slowly, he picked it up and bit. The taste was sharp, strange, but it filled his stomach. Warmth spread through him. "Thank you," he whispered again. "This time." The alien gave a sound, low like a growl but not angry, almost like a reply. The boy felt a small spark of relief. Maybe, just maybe, he was not hated here. But as the night deepened, strange noises came from outside. Screeches. Heavy. Steps on the broken rocks. The boy froze. He had heard those sounds before, the creatures that prowled the ruins. They were hunters of flesh drawn by weakness. The alien stood quickly, its tall frame tense. It reached for a weapon, a long blade with a glowing edge. It looked at the boy, then pointed to the far corner of the cave. "Hide," it said. The boy obeyed. His body shook as he crawled into the shadows, pressing against the stone. From there, he watched. The sound grew louder. Something moved outside the cave. A shadow crossed the entrance. A growl echoed, deep and hungry. The alien moved, silently, blade ready. The fire flickered, casting long shapes against the walls. The boy covered his mouth, afraid even his breathing would give them away. Suddenly, the creature stepped inside. Its body was large, skin black and wet, teeth sharp like knives. Its eyes glowed red in the dark. It sniffed the air, then roared. The alien leapt forward. The cave filled with the clash of blade and beast. Sparks flew as steel met claws. The boy's heart pounded so loud he thought it would burst. He wanted to close his eyes, but he couldn't look away. The fight was brutal. The creature struck, hard, slamming the alien against the rock. The alien grunted but did not fall. With a swift movement, it drove the glowing blade deep into the beast's chest. A scream tore through the cave, shaking the stones. Then silence. The beast fell, heavy and lifeless. The boy gasped for air he had been holding. His body trembled, but slowly he crawled out of the shadows. The alien stood, blood, dark and strange, across its arm. It pulled the blade free and pushed the creature's body aside. Its glowing eyes turned back to the boy. The boy whispered, voice shaking, "You saved me." The alien stared at him for a long moment. Then, in that deep, strange voice, it spoke. "Safe. Tonight." The boy's heart filled with both fear and hope. Safe for tonight. But what about tomorrow? He lay back down near the fire, though sleep still would not come. His thoughts twisted like smoke. Why did this alien let him stay? Why not kill him or leave him outside? Did it feel pity? Or was it waiting for something? The boy closed his eyes, but his mind stayed awake. He dreamed with open eyes, seeing his mother again. He whispered her words, "Run. Live." He was alive. For now. The alien sat guard through the night, its blade across its knees, its eyes always on the entrance. Outside, the ruins breathed with danger, but inside the cave, a strange silence grew between them. The boy knew this was only the beginning. Tomorrow he might be sent away. Tomorrow he might face death again. But tonight, for the first time, since he lost everything, he had a fire, food, and something watching over him. And in that fragile moment, it was enough. The fire inside the cave had grown weak. Only faint red light glowed against the stone walls. The boy sat awake, staring at the sparks. He was too tired to move, yet too afraid to sleep. His body wanted rest, but his mind would not allow it. Across from him, the alien sat in silence, its strange blade across its knees, its glowing eyes never closed. The boy wondered if it even needed sleep. It seemed like a statue, waiting for something he could not understand. Outside, the night was alive. The wind howled through the ruins, carrying the cries of beasts and the distant echoes of raiders. The boy shivered. Each sound felt closer than it really was. Slowly, his eyes began to close. For a moment, he let himself drift. But then, voices. He froze. Not human voices, not the growls of beasts. Deeper, sharper, filled with strange tones. The boy's heart raced. He turned his head toward the cave entrance. There were more of them. Shadows moved outside. At least two, maybe more. Their language was fast, heavy with sounds he could not understand. They were speaking to the alien inside. The boy's chest tightened. Did they know he was here? The alien rose, moving toward the entrance. It answered back in the same strange tongue. The voices outside grew louder, angry. The boy crawled deeper into the corner of the cave, pressing his hands over his mouth to hide his breath. The conversation grew heated. He could hear the sharpness of threats, the heavy rhythm of footsteps. His heart pounded so loud he thought they would hear it. Then silence. The alien returned to the fire. Its face was unreadable. The others outside walked away, their voices fading into the night. The boy whispered, barely able to breathe. Who were they? The alien turned its head slowly, eyes glowing brighter in the dying fire. It spoke only one word. Hunters. The boy's blood turned cold. He understood enough. Whoever they were dangerous. Maybe more dangerous than the beasts outside. He wrapped his arms around his knees tighter. His thoughts swirled. What if those hunters came back? What if they wanted him? What if the alien gave him up? He thought of his mother again, of her last words. Run. Live. But how could he run now? Where would he go? The alien seemed to read his fear. It leaned forward, its deep voice low and heavy. Safe. Tonight. The same words as before. Safe tonight. But only tonight. The boy stared at the glowing eyes. He wanted to trust them, but his chest was heavy with doubt. What would happen when the sun rose? Would the alien send him away? Would the hunters return? Sleep finally pulled at him. His eyes closed, though his heart still raced. His dreams were restless, images of fire, screams, red skies, and shadows with glowing eyes. He woke to a sound. The cave was dark, the fire nearly dead. A low hum echoed from deeper inside the stone. At first he thought it was just the wind. But no, it was voices again. Whispers. The boy crawled toward the sound, curiosity stronger than his fear. He pressed his ear against the stone wall. The voices were clearer now. The hunters were speaking somewhere close, their words slipping through cracks in the rock. He could not understand their language, but he understood their tone. Cold, sharp, full of hate. And one word came again and again, human. The boy's chest tightened. They were speaking about him. Suddenly a hand touched his shoulder. He jumped. The alien stood behind him, silent and tall. Its glowing eyes burned into his own. "Not safe," it whispered. The boy trembled. Then, "Why keep me?" The alien said nothing for a long moment. Then, in its deep, strange voice, it spoke. "Choice. Soon." The words hit the boy like a stone. A choice? What choice? His heart raced. Was the alien deciding whether to keep him alive or give him away? He backed away slowly, his hands shaking. The alien did not move closer. It only stood in the shadows, its eyes glowing like fire in the dark. The boy returned to his corner, curling up against the cold stone. His breath came in short bursts. He felt smaller than ever, a tiny spark lost in a vast, dangerous universe. But inside, his chest, another feeling stirred. Fear, yes, but also anger. He thought of his mother again, her face, her voice. She had not saved him so he could die here, hunted and weak. She had told him to live. His hands tightened into fists. For the first time since the fire took everything, he felt something like strength. Tomorrow would bring danger. Tomorrow the alien would make its choice. But tonight, he whispered to the silence, "I will live." And the shadows listened. The morning came slowly. A pale light crept into the cave, touching the stone walls and the broken body of the beast killed the night before. The boy sat near the ashes of the fire, his eyes heavy, his stomach still empty. He did not feel rested. The whispers of the hunters haunted his dreams. The alien stood at the entrance, tall and still, scanning the horizon. Its blade rested at its side, glowing faintly in the morning light. The boy wondered how long it had stood there, never moving, never sleeping. Outside, the ruins stretched far. Broken towers, collapsed homes, burned metal. Smoke still rose in the distance. The boy's chest ached when he looked at it. That had been his home. His mother's voice seemed to echo in the ruins. Run. Live. He had run. He had lived. But for how long? The alien turned its head slightly, as if it had heard something far away. Its glowing eyes narrowed. It lifted a hand, motioning the boy back into the shadows of the cave. The boy obeyed quickly. His heart pounded. He knew that look. Danger. At first, it was only silence. Then the ground began to shake. Faint at first, then stronger. The boy pressed himself against the wall, eyes wide. He remembered that sound, the heavy march of boots, the thunder of raiders. They were coming. The alien lifted its blade, its muscles tight, its body ready. From outside, voices echoed, shouts, laughter, the clatter of weapons. Raiders. The hunters had returned, and this time, they were not alone. The boy's heart raced. He wanted to scream, but no sound left his throat. He gripped the stone floor until his nails hurt. Suddenly, the entrance filled with shadows. Figures appeared, tall, armored, carrying weapons that glowed with strange fire. Their helmets covered their faces, but their voices were clear, cold, hungry. They stepped inside the cave. The alien moved fast. Its blade cut through the air, bright and sharp. Sparks flew as steel met steel. The sound of battle filled the cave, echoing loud and violent. The boy pressed deeper into the shadows, shaking. But then something inside him pushed against his fear. He saw the alien fighting, outnumbered, outmatched. Each strike was fast, but the hunters were many. If the alien fell, the boy would die. His eyes darted around. Near the wall, half buried. In the dirt, he saw a broken metal pipe. His hands shook as he reached for it. His chest screamed with fear, but his mother's words burned in his mind. Run. Live. He could not run, so he would live. The boy gripped the pipe and crawled forward. His legs felt weak, his breath sharp and quick. The hunters did not see him. They were locked in combat with the alien. One of them moved close, ready to strike from behind. The boy leapt from the shadows, swinging the pipe with all his strength. The metal cracked against the hunter's head. The creature stumbled, roaring in pain. For a moment, the boy could not believe what he had done. His arms ached, but inside his chest, Fire burned. The alien turned, eyes glowing brighter. For the first time, it looked at the boy not with suspicion but with something else. Respect. The fight raged on. The alien moved like lightning, cutting through armor, blocking blows, striking back. The boy swung his pipe again and again, fear turning into wild courage. He was small, weak, but his strikes were fast, desperate. Together they pushed the hunters back. The cave echoed with screams and sparks. Blood, dark and strange, spattered the stone. Finally, the last hunter fell. Silence filled the cave once more, broken only by the heavy breaths of the alien and the boy. The boy dropped the pipe, his hands shaking. His knees hit the ground. His chest rose and fell like thunder. The alien stood tall, its blade dripping with blood. It looked down at the boy. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, in that deep voice, the alien said, "Brave." The boy blinked. His heart still raced, but those words gave him strength. He had been afraid, yes, but he had fought. He was not just a helpless child. The alien lowered its blade and sat by the fire's ashes. The boy sat across, his body trembling but alive. Outside, the ruins were quiet again, but the boy knew it would not last. The hunters would return, there would be more. This fight was only the beginning. Still inside the cave, something had changed. The boy looked at the alien and whispered, "Thank you for fighting with me." The alien gave no answer, only a long stare. But in its glowing eyes, the boy saw something new, something that looked almost like trust. For the first time since his mother's death, the boy felt not only fear, but hope. He was not alone. The cave smelled of smoke and blood. The broken bodies of the hunters lay still on the stone floor. The boy sat with his back against the wall, his chest rising and falling fast. His arms ached, his hands were raw, but inside him burned a strange feeling. He had fought, he had survived. Across from him, the alien cleaned its blade. The glow of the weapon lit up its face, sharp and unreadable. It moved with calm strength, as if battles like this were nothing new. But for the boy, it was different. His heart still pounded. His mind replayed the fight again and again. He looked at the alien and whispered, We won." The alien paused, then gave a low sound, something between a growl and a hum. Not anger, not mockery, almost like agreement. The boy hugged his knees. He thought of his mother again. How proud she might have been to see him fight. For a moment, the ache in his chest grew sharp, but then it softened. He was still here. He was alive. The alien stood, tall and strong, and dragged the bodies of the hunters outside. The boy followed slowly. Outside, the ruins glowed under the pale morning sun. The world looked broken, shattered homes, fallen towers, smoke rising like ghosts. The alien dropped the bodies in the dust and spoke in its deep voice. "Others will come." The boy's stomach tightened. "More hunters?" The alien nodded. Its glowing eyes scanned the horizon. Then it turned back to him. "Not safe. Never safe." The words cut deep. The boy lowered his head. Nowhere was safe. Not his home, not the ruins, not even this cave. He was just a human child in a world too big, too cruel. But then the alien surprised him. It reached out, holding something small in its hand. A piece of metal, shaped like a crest. The alien placed it in the boy's palm. The metal was cold, marked with strange lines. The boy frowned. "What is this?" The alien's voice was low. "Tribe. Lost." The boy stared at it. He understood enough. This alien too had lost something. A tribe. A family. Just like him. His chest ached, but this time not from fear. It was something else. Connection. He whispered softly, "I lost my mother. You lost your tribe." The alien's glowing eyes stayed on him. For the first time, the silence between them felt less heavy. That night, They sat by the fire together. The boy told stories, simple stories of his home before the fire, before the raiders, before the end. His mother's smile, the sound of laughter. The alien did not speak much, but it listened. Its glowing eyes never left the boy's face. Then, slowly, the alien spoke of its own loss. The words were broken, heavy, but the boy understood pieces. A war, a betrayal, a people gone. The alien's voice carried pain, though its face stayed still. The boy whispered, "We are both alone." The alien looked into the fire. Alone. Together. The boy's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were not only from sadness. A strange warmth filled him. He was not completely alone anymore, but the warmth did not last long. The next day, voices echoed again outside the ruins. More hunters, more danger. The alien gripped its blade, ready. The boy felt fear rise in his chest, but he also felt something new. Determination. He stood, picking up the broken pipe he had used before. His hands still shook, but he held it tight. The alien turned to him, its glowing eyes unreadable. "You fight?" The boy nodded. His voice was soft but steady. "I will fight. I don't want to run anymore." The alien studied him for a long moment, then gave a slow nod. Brave. Too brave. The boy almost smiled. For the first time since he lost everything, he felt stronger. Not because he was fearless, but because he was not fighting alone. But danger still surrounded them. The whispers of the hunters grew louder each night. The ruins were no longer just ruins. They were a trap. The boy knew their bond was strong, but he also knew the question remained. Would the alien protect him against its own kind? Or when the moment came, would it choose its people over him? That question hung in the air like smoke, heavy and sharp, and, though the boy felt hope, he also felt fear. Because bonds could save. But bonds could also break. The days passed in silence. The boy and the alien stayed inside the cave, waiting, watching. Each night, the hunters' voices echoed across the ruins. Each morning, the alien stood guard at the entrance, its glowing eyes scanning the horizon. The boy felt the weight of every moment. He knew their time was running out. One morning, the alien's body tensed. It tilted its head, listening. Then, it spoke one word, counsel. The boy frowned. Counsel? The alien's face was unreadable, but its voice was sharp. My people. They come. The boy's chest tightened. His hands shook. The alien's people, the same kind who had hunted him, who wanted him dead. He felt his throat close. They know I'm here? The alien gave no answer. Its silence was louder than any words. By midday they arrived. Shadows moved between the ruins. Tall figures armored and proud, weapons glowing like fire. Their voices filled the air, heavy and commanding. The boy pressed himself against the wall of the cave, his heart pounding so hard he could barely breathe. The alien stepped outside to meet them. The boy followed slowly, staying behind, half hidden in the shadows. The council stood in a circle. 5 of them. Their eyes glowed like burning coals, their faces stern and cold. One spoke, its voice deep and sharp. You keep the human. The alien said nothing. Another stepped forward. It is forbidden. Humans are weak. Dangerous. You endanger us all. The boy's chest ached. He wanted to shout, to say he was not dangerous, but his throat would not open. His fear chained him. The leader of the council raised its weapon and pointed toward the cave. Give the boy to us. Tonight. The boy gasped. His hands clutched the cold stone. He turned his eyes to the alien, the only one who had given him food, shelter, safety. Would it abandon him now? The silence stretched long. The alien stood tall, its blade resting at its side, its glowing eyes locked on the council. For a moment, the boy thought it might agree. His chest filled with terror. Then, Finally, the alien spoke. Its voice was deep, steady, unshaken. No. The council roared in anger. Their voices thundered across the ruins. You betray us, one shouted. For a human child? Another cried. The alien stepped forward, its voice louder now. Not a child. Survivor. Brave. The boy's heart jumped. His breath caught. The alien had seen him, not as weak, but as something more. The council did not care. Their weapons rose. Then you choose exile. You choose war. The alien's blade glowed brighter. I choose him. The boy's chest filled with both fear and hope. His hands shook, his eyes burned with tears. He had begged for one night of safety. Now this alien was defying its own people for him. The leader of the council raised its voice. Then both of you will fall. Hunters will return. We will not protect you. The alien did not flinch. It turned slightly, its glowing eyes meeting the boy's. Then it spoke words soft but powerful. Stay. Forever. The boy's breath caught in his throat. His chest filled with warmth so sharp it hurt. He nodded quickly, his tears falling fast. He whispered, almost too quiet to hear. I will stay. The council turned their backs. Their footsteps shook the earth as they left. Their voices echoed into the distance, heavy with anger and warning. The ruins grew quiet again. The boy stumbled forward, his legs weak. They will come back. They'll kill us both. The alien sheathed its blade. Maybe. But not tonight. Not tomorrow. We fight. The boy swallowed hard. His fear still lived inside him, but beside it was something new. Strength. He was not running anymore. He was not begging anymore. He had been chosen. He looked at the alien and whispered, Why me? The alien's eyes glowed softer, the firelight dancing across them. Because you fight. Because you live. The boy's chest ached with emotion. He remembered his mother's last words. Run. Live. He had run. He had lived. And now because of that, he had found something he never expected. Home. But the shadow of danger still hung over them. The hunters would not stop. The council would not forgive. The universe was still cruel. Yet for the first time, the boy did not feel alone. For the first time, he believed he could face whatever came next. The alien placed its hand on the boy's shoulder, firm and steady. Together. The boy nodded, his voice quiet, but strong. Together. And in the broken ruins of a fallen world, a new bond was forged, one that no council, no hunter, no war could break. The ruins lay silent under the pale light of dawn. Ash drifted in the air like snow, settling on broken stone and twisted metal. The boy sat near the fire inside the cave, staring at the flames. His body was weak, but his heart beat strong. Beside him, the alien sharpened its blade, the sound of steel against stone echoing in the stillness. They were exiles now, hunted, alone. Yet for the boy, this was no longer just fear. It was also belonging. He had asked for one night of safety. Now, against all odds, he had been given forever. But forever would not come without a fight. By midday, the sky darkened with shadows. The hunters had returned, dozens of them, armored and armed, their voices sharp like knives. The ground shook as they marched toward the cave. The boy stood at the entrance, his hands gripping the same broken pipe he had carried since the first battle. His arms trembled, but he did not back away. The alien stood beside him, tall and unshaken, its glowing eyes fixed on the enemy. It turned its head slightly, speaking in its deep voice. Afraid? The boy swallowed hard, then shook his head. Yes, but I'll fight anyway. The alien gave a sound like a low growl, approval. The hunters spread across the ruins, their weapons glowing red. The leader stepped forward, raising its voice. Last chance. Give us the human and we will let you live. The alien's blade flashed in the firelight. Its voice thundered. No. He stays. Forever. The boy's chest filled with fire. He raised his pipe high, his small figure standing against an army. For the first time he did not feel like a child. He felt like a fighter. The hunters roared and charged. The battle was chaos. Blades clashed, sparks flew, screams filled the air. The alien moved like a storm, its blade cutting through armor, its body unshaken by the onslaught. The boy fought with every ounce of strength, striking, dodging, pushing back enemies twice his size. Fear burned inside him, but it only fueled his courage. At one point, a hunter broke through and raised its weapon to strike the boy down. The alien leapt between them, taking the blow across its arm. Blood, dark and thick, splattered the stone. But the alien did not fall. It struck back, saving him once more. The boy's heart ached. "Why risk yourself for me?" he shouted through the chaos. The alien's voice was steady, even in battle. "Because you are mine now. Because you fight. Because you live." The word struck deeper than any blade. The boy screamed and swung harder, his small arms filled with strength he didn't know he had. Together they fought as one. Human and alien. Weak and strong. Two souls bound by loss and survival. Hours felt like days. When the last hunter finally fell, silence crashed down over the ruins. The boy dropped his weapon, his arms trembling, his chest heaving. His legs almost gave way, but he stayed standing. The alien lowered its blade, its body wounded but unbroken. Its glowing eyes turned to the boy. For a long moment they simply stared at one another, the fire of battle still alive between them. Then, slowly, the alien placed its hand on the boy's shoulder. Its voice was softer now, deep but gentle. "Home." The boy's eyes filled with tears. He whispered back, "I asked for one night. You gave me forever." The alien nodded. "Forever." The boy smiled, though his face was streaked with dirt and tears. For the first time since his mother's death, he felt something he thought was lost forever, hope. Not just for tonight, not just for tomorrow, but for all the days to come. The ruins were still dangerous. The hunters would return. The galaxy was still cruel. But none of that mattered now. He was no longer a lost child. He was no longer alone. He had found a family, not by blood, but by bond. He had found a home, not in stone walls, but in trust. He had asked for one night, and he had been given forever. As the sun broke through the clouds, lighting the ruins in gold, the boy whispered, one last time to the silent sky, "Mother, I lived." And in the glow of dawn, with the alien by his side, forever began.